Good journey, everyone. Welcome to Space Oats Live, a Star Wars podcast. I am the Crucial Crew member, and man, it's been a while. It's been a while since I've done this, right? I am so sorry, but it's been a crazy end of the year, 2024 closing out. So it's been about what, 3 weeks, I guess? I don't know, 2, 3 weeks, something like that. So we got a little bit to catch up on. Um, a lot of Skeleton Crew. 3 episodes to catch up on. So hopefully everybody's up on pace with that one. Again, I'm gonna save that to the end because I don't want anybody to get spoiled. So you know, we'll kind of push all that aside. We'll push all that aside. We'll talk about that at the end. But we're going to talk a little bit about some Star Wars Celebration. We're going to talk about um, 2024. Lots of stuff happened in 2024 with Star Wars, right? We didn't. I didn't even kind of realize like how much happened in 2024 with Star Wars, but it was a lot. It was a lot of content that was released. Just didn't really kind of think about it um, until like going through and just like trying to pick out my top five was really really tough to do with everything that happened. So yeah, I'm gonna do my top five of 2024, and then next week I'll go ahead and do my top five of 2025. What I'm looking forward to this year with Star Wars, and yeah, we'll go through that as well. So but what we want to start things off with is a segment that I like to do every day on my YouTube channel. I either post or um, go live and talk about it. Which for the next couple of days, it's going to be a lot of posts because I'm not really going live right now. I'm taking a few days off. It's actually my wife and myself anniversary this week, so we're kind of doing a whole little bit of staycation, Disneycation type of deal, doing some stuff here at Disney. So I think we're going to do like Magic Kingdom and Epcot, and then just a couple of my favorite resorts. You know, a couple of my favorite restaurants, and maybe get to see some new places that I haven't seen yet, like the new Polynesian resort. So yeah, going to be checking that out, and hitting up the new lounge over there probably either tomorrow or the next day. But yeah, so exciting to just kind of get away and do stuff. So it'll be a lot of posts, not really a lot of live going on for me this week until maybe Saturday, maybe. So we'll see. But look for those not long ago in this galaxy posts that I post on my YouTube channel now. And you can go back and watch them. I've been doing them by date, which is great. I think it is a little bit easier to kind of go back and see what's been going on in Star Wars history by date now, which is a little bit better, I think, as far as me kind of seeing what I've done and what I've talked about and whatnot. It'll be easier for like next year to do something different, talk about something different, right? That's the whole goal, is to keep it fresh, keep it new. So yeah. So but yeah. So Skeleton Crew, we'll talk about that last. Star Wars Celebration. Maybe we'll jump into that a little bit after my quick not long ago in this galaxy, and then we're gonna throw in 2024 review top five, and yeah, start off with not long ago in this galaxy. So not long ago in this galaxy, today, going back to January the 8th, 1974. And I think this is the right date. I think this is the right date. I'm pretty sure. I mean, obviously, I always say I take these things most of the time off of StarWars.com. So you would think that they're right, but not always. Not always are they right. Sometimes they get a year wrong or something like that. Or they're off a day, maybe. I don't know. Or maybe I'm just finding different information. So sometimes I'm like, I don't know, but I'm thinking that this one's correct. I know it was 1974. That's a fact. That's definitely a fact that it was 1974. I'm gonna quickly just change my screen here a little bit around and do this. Yes, this is the way I like it. I wish I could like preset it so like this is the always what it does. It always goes up that way, right up there. That's where I like it. But so not long ago in this galaxy today, artist John Mullo, who did a lot of concept art along with Ralph McQuarrie. So he did a lot of the costume sketches for Star Wars. What the characters were going to be wearing, things like that. Ralph McQuarrie was more of the vehicles, the look, the planets, just the overall feel, the design of maybe how Star Wars was going to he was kind of like the pitch artist almost. But then also George used a lot of his concepts in designing, and even John Muller like carried on from like what Ralph McQuarrie was doing in his concept art. They kind of worked together, everything all blending together in harmony, which was great, which helped George Lucas kind of bring his vision to life. But John Muller completed his final concept sketch for, I think, a lot of people's favorite Jedi of all time. He's my favorite Jedi of all time. I don't know what just happened back there, but something just shook and almost fell over. Hopefully, not my beer. My beer didn't fall over. Yay. Florida Man beer, by the way, double IPA. Really good stuff. Got the Florida Man. I'm in Florida, so gotta get the Florida Man. But yeah, so the concept sketch, the final. I think this is actually the final sketch for Obi-Wan Kenobi. His costume, which you see like the white kimono style Jedi robe, or the undergarment there with the dark brown outer cloak, the robes being underneath, the cloak being over top, which really was the way Obi-Wan ended up looking, right? Very, very close to his concept sketch was what was brought to life. The costumes of Star Wars have been something that's just, I think, really captured something new and something different. You brought together so many different forms of cultures, and also of what was going on in the world at the time or previously, the dynamics of what was going on, which really just had this earthly feel, and then also a fantasy feel, and then also a science fiction feel. All these different things kind of mashing together all in one. So like the Jedi's, especially Obi-Wan Kenobi, kind of having that old wizard like feel to it, with the costume, and obviously the Force connection to like a magical power, kind of brought that fantasy element into Star Wars. But then also at the same time, again, very similar to the Japanese kimono look, with on the undergarment, and then that cloak kind of covering over, kind of giving it that more fantasy feeling to it, which was something that George Lucas did brilliantly. And also, I think just what some of the Japanese feel from the costumes. Not only Obi-Wan Kenobi, but Darth Vader, his look and feel very being like samurai looking, as well as some other characters that had that feel as well. Really brought to life my love of Japanese culture. So yeah, so this concept art was the final version, Obi-Wan Kenobi, and it was completed today, January 8th, 1974. I don't know if you have like a favorite costume of Star Wars, but honestly, throughout this whole podcast tonight, I'm going to be really looking into some of the costumes and just the feel, because there's a lot of things right now going on that have a lot of really cool um, ties to the Star Wars costumes, especially when I get to talking about a little bit of news that we had a couple weeks ago with Star Wars Celebration, some extra news, more in-depth news, and then my just 2024, some of the things that was released and why I liked it had a lot to do with the different concept costumes. I love the costumes of Star Wars. I think that just the depth of what is put into the costumes of Star Wars, I think really makes it stand out from a lot of different films, because it is different. It's a lot different. It's a lot different from any other film. Just the way that the costumes are done, because they don't always match the environments that we see in Star Wars. You just have a lot of people from different that are wearing different costumes, that are from different backgrounds and different cultures, but then you have them visiting different planets or living on different planets, that really kind of mash everything together. And it almost doesn't work, but it works. You don't think it should work, but it does work, which is something that's really amazing. And I think that one of the things that I love about Star Wars is the costumes. The costumes are fantastic. Um, and then also, talking about Skeleton Crew a little bit later, Just as I'm going back and I'm every now and then I'm like rewatching some of the episodes, and just the costumes are just fantastic with what's been brought about. And again, different. It's Star Wars, but it's different because we're getting into this whole like Pirates of the Caribbean, and then also very earthly environments with At-Atin, which is making it look very realistic, very like suburban lifestyle from home with the kids of At-Atin and the parents and everything with how that culture is on that planet. Um, but that's just the costumes are brilliant in Star Wars, and I think that's what really stands out with Star Wars with me and makes it so amazing. So, but speaking of costumes, the Star Wars Celebration, there was new badge art revealed, which I don't know if you've seen some of the new badge art, but I don't know what badge I'm going to get, and I don't really know if we've really kind of discovered what badges we're going to get as of yet. But I don't know. Do we know like which badges are which yet? I don't know. Honestly, I kind of want to like really quickly just go and look at this article again from the badge release to see do we know anything about which badges are going to be what yet? Because I'm just excited about all these badges, and I want to know like which one I'm going to get. And I have no idea because these badges are so I mean, they've revealed 4 new ones, and this is one of the new ones, the Sabine Wren, which again, I love how they're really taking the Star Wars characters and they're just putting it in this Japanese style by the amazing Japanese artist Takumi, and just some of the awesome. We have Sabine Wren, that's the new one. This is one of the new ones, which again, very much Star Wars looking, especially with the dark saber. Well, not with the dark saber. This one. This is just her with her newer saber, actually, the Ezra saber that she took over. But just looking at the costume, the colors of her armor incorporated in the Japanese samurai um, outfit, and the Mandalorian costume really does match well with this. This Japanese style and this flavor is just really amazing to see. And again, yeah, we don't know which badges these go to as of yet, but they are fantastic. And I don't even know if I care which ones I get, but the Sabine one is actually really cool to see. Another one that was a reveal was Queen Amidala, which again has this. I mean, so much Japanese flavor in this art here. Um, just looks outstanding. I mean, can't tell you how much. I mean, Queen Amidala, there wasn't really much to change from this costume because Queen Amidala herself, the costume itself, really did have inspiration from Japanese culture, like the makeup and everything. It really wasn't much of a change with the art. There wasn't much of a transformation for Japanese style to put into this, so it's not much of a change. Um, the Sabine one's really cool. Again, not hard to do. Take Mandalorian armor and make it into samurai. The C3PO and R2D2 one, obviously, droid's going to be one of my favorite. I would be not sad if this was the 3-day pass. I'd be so fine with that. But I don't know if that's going to be the case or not. But I would love it if the R2D2 and C3PO one. I mean, Mount Fuji in the background, the cherry blossoms. I love how a lot of these badges are having cherry blossom look to them, especially with it being that time of year in Japan, which is so cool. So, and then the Ventress one was the other one that was released. That was just released. So the Asajj Ventress one with blades out, and again, not too much different. Uh, not much change there with the style and the look of Ventress, because she already has so much connected with her costume with Japanese culture. It's amazing to see that once you actually see the transformation and you really realize that there's really not much there. But in case you haven't seen some of the other ones, I'm just going to run through real quick. The Darth Vader one was one of the other ones that was released That's that one. The Luke Skywalker one. Um, not too much of a change there. I love how all the lightsabers though, very cool looking with the samurai sword. And then kind of on the look and feel of the Sabine one, the Mandalorian Din Djarin with Grogu. Grogu having a little bit of a cool Japanese flair there in the way he looks. And then we had the Ahsoka one as well, which again, not much different than the Ahsoka look. Again, so much Japanese inspiration you see in the characters when you see um, the Japanese style just brought to the fore. You really realize how much pull from Japanese culture is in Star Wars. Um, the other one being Yoda. I have a feeling that's going to be the kids one. I don't know, something just tells me, but pretty cool in there, meditating there. So yeah, all those amazing pieces of art there for Star Wars Celebration Japan. So I don't know, which one do you want? Which badge is your favorite from StarWars.com or from the Japanese from Star Wars Celebration? Which one would you want as part of your collection? Part of me, like I when I went to Europe, we had to buy multiple passes because we couldn't get the 4-day pass. And I actually kind of liked that. I liked getting 4 different pieces of art. But we got the 3-day for this time, so I'm only going to get one. But they do have those like posters usually, and who knows? Maybe that'll be something. There's just so many things that like with travel and going to Japan and trying to bring everything back. I don't know how much I want to bring back with me because that's at the forefront of that's at like the front of our vacation is Star Wars Celebration. So I don't want to be lugging all this stuff around with me throughout Japan. So it's going to be tough to figure out how I'm going to do that, how I'm going to, not buy everything, but buy everything that I want. But yeah. So I'm just okay. I'm going to type it in there. Which badge, which uh, celebration um, badge art are you most excited for? So we'll throw that up there. If anybody has any comments on that, if you've seen the art, if you're going to Star Wars Celebration Japan, which one would you want? Which one did you want? I think I'm tied to Ahsoka. I love the Ahsoka one, and I mean I could go with like classic Luke. That's a pretty cool one. And then let's see, I would think I guess the Vader one as well. So got to go bad guy in there. So I would say, yeah, Ahsoka, Luke, and Vader would be the top three choices for me. Um, no, yeah, I mean, so you know what? No, Ahsoka, droids, Vader, Ahsoka, droid. We'll say Luke is like number 4. So Luke is like number 4. So kind of like an honorable mention choice of mine. I wouldn't be sad. Really cool look to it, but yeah, definitely Ahsoka first, droid second, and then the Vader one third. Would be my top 3 if I got a pick. So, but the Ahsoka one looking really, really cool. So I don't know which ones are going to which yet. I don't think anybody's really said that yet. I don't think they've announced that yet. So we'll have to see. We'll have to see how that goes. But looking forward to Celebration Japan. Pretty much my trip is done, all booked. Including the Disney part of my trip, everything. We're good to go. We're ready to go. So I can't wait to get there and start this amazing part. I mean, next week, my top 5 of 2025. No lie, Celebration Japan is going to be number 1. I mean, I'll ramp it up to that. But I mean, come on, going to Japan in this year for Star Wars. Yeah, I mean, if it wasn't my number 1, I'd be stupid because I've never been to Japan. This is gonna be a once in a lifetime trip. It's gonna be amazing. I already know it. It's gonna be outstanding. So I can't wait for that. That is definitely gonna be my number 1 for next week. But speaking of top 5s, Speaking of top fives, let's go ahead and talk about 2024. What happened in 2024 Star Wars that you was your favorite? What was your favorite thing that happened in 2024? What was your favorite, if I can spell, um, Star Wars moment of 2024? Let's throw that up there. What was your favorite moment? Favorite Star Wars moment of 2024? I'm gonna do mine. I mean, there was a lot of great stuff. A lot of great stuff that I did not put in. I mean, when it all comes down to it, really, anything watching Star Wars is gonna be in my top. And there was a lot. There was a lot. So like literally almost everything, everything in my top five pretty much has to do with something on the screen for Star Wars. Everything in that top five. But there was a lot of things that happened besides that. A lot of announcements. Maybe you're excited about some of the announcements, the things that like just they didn't quite make it to the screen yet, but you're excited about it coming to the screen. Some announcements there. The High Republic. The High Republic had tons of new stories brought to life, as well as a bunch of other stories. I mean, we had the 25th anniversary of the Phantom Menace. That was a big thing. That was a big moment, with lot I mean, the re-release in theaters, which I unfortunately did not get to go see. Um, so much merchandise that came out with, The Phantom Menace, so much love. Speaking of that, kinda tying into that, everyone's favorite fiction, or favorite fan fiction, Darth Jar Jar, was brought to life in Rebuild the Galaxy, Lego Star Wars Rebuild the Galaxy. So much fun. Actually, that did not make my list because there was just so much Star Wars content that was on the screen this year. I couldn't even pick that one. Couldn't even pick that one. They got dropped off. But that was amazing. It was so much fun. I love Lego Star Wars. It's so much great. So great. And what else? I mean, we had so much content revealed. We had stuff in the parks, Disney parks. We had Star Tours had new additions brought there. The Ahsoka, Din Djarin, Cassian Andor, all in Star Tours now, with clips of them on the hologram, basically joining this adventure. You get to go to Peridia. Oh no, it wasn't Peridia. Shoot, the other Cetos, and fly among the Purgles. So much fun. That didn't even make my top five, right? It's Star Wars Ride didn't even make my top five because there was so much released in Star Wars this year or last year. So I haven't even like mentioned anything yet, my 2025 or my top five yet. So I'm gonna do this. We're gonna start with my number five. My number five is actually it's going on now. It started in 2024, but it's going on now, which is the Skeleton Crew. The Skeleton Crew is happening right now. Um, if I can get it up. Here we go. The Skeleton Crew going on right now. Which honestly, um, just to carry off of like my favorites, this is in my top three Disney Plus um, already. I mean, we got what one episode left. I think is this episode six. Is it six this week? Seven. We got two more episodes, right? I think it's eight episodes. Um, yeah, so like we're in episode six this week. Skeleton Crew has just been so much fun. It's just like taken me back to my childhood, watching all those films, those Amblin Entertainment films, Goonies in particular. I mean, it just rings Goonies. The Goonies, the Pirates, all of that. Pirates of the Caribbean tying into this a lot with the storytelling. It's so much fun. From the start all the way now, it's just been amazing. Every episode has just been such a great adventure. Um, I think it's getting great reviews, which is great because you know what happened with the other show that came out this year that didn't get or last year that didn't get good reviews, and they canceled it, which is kind of unfortunate. But Skeleton Crew, I think, has been so fantastic, and there's just little twists and turns here. Some of them a little bit predictable. That's the one thing that Disney. I don't think they know how to like surprise us anymore. But I don't know, or maybe that maybe I'm just trying to figure it out. And maybe I'm figuring it out really good. Maybe it's going in the direction that I want it to go in. I don't know, but it's been fantastic, and I'm loving this. I love the crew. I love Jude Law. I love the kids in this are amazing. Nick Frost, SM33 is just fantastic. I can't wait to see how this all like wraps up. It's just becoming a very fun adventure. And what really gets me excited is it's just kind of that age bracket I think that Star Wars needs to hit. They got the Young Jedi Adventures. They have the stories, the animation, and I think this is really the first live action Star Wars series that is really hitting at this younger age bracket, this like preteen teen age bracket that I think is just catapulting them into the love of Star Wars. I hope they're enjoying it. I really do. It does have a lot of ties to I think their parents when they were their age with these films that I loved. And also with Pirates of the Caribbean. I mean, to me, it's fantastic. It's a great adventure. I'm loving it. We're going to talk a little bit about some of the last 3 episodes in a little bit. But so far, it's catapulted me to putting this as my top, my fifth of the year. Right? This was the fifth. I thought this was number one. Did I do this wrong? I may have done this wrong. 4, 3, 2. It did. Oh, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so um I am going the wrong way. But anyway, so this was my number one. This was my number one. Um, and I actually wanted to show this one instead. This because this was just nope. I did do it wrong. I did the wrong one. This was actually my five. This was my five. Let's okay. See, I wanted to talk about Skeleton Crew so much that I did that kerfuffle messed up. My number five is Outlaws. I should have just been reading my notes. Um, Outlaws is my number five. So yes, it's not a film, but this game, I'm into it. It's tough. Um, I'm getting caught all the time and having to redo and go through because you have to sneak around a lot, which is it's tough. But yeah, no, I'm loving this game. Star Wars Outlaws looks really cool. I'm not having any problems with it. I've heard some people have some like glitches and lagging and things like that. Xbox is doing great for me. So I don't know what anybody's playing platform wise, but Xbox it's running really smooth for me. It's really great. Time is what's killing me because having the time to do it. Once I get sucked in, and then like 3 hours later, I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm still playing this game, and I just don't have the time to do that. I need sleep, people. I really do need sleep. But Outlaws is my number five for this year. Great game. I didn't get in on it until a little bit later this year, so I didn't really start playing it until I bought it Black Friday weekend. So like I've only really been playing it for about a month now. But I'm having a lot of fun with it. It's really great. I love it, and it's just kind of giving me that like extra Star Wars story that's kind of it just has this feel of Jedi Survivor, but it's totally different because there's no lightsabers, which is great. It's cool to play a Star Wars game without any lightsabers, but at least not yet anyway. But yeah, it's been a lot of fun. I love it. I'm having a lot of fun with it. So that is definitely my number five. Um, going backwards now, just like ridiculous. I mean, you know what my number one is. So my number four of 2024 is Tales of the Empire. Um, this probably would have been higher had it not been. I don't want to say disappointment, but the the Barris arc. I wish it could have been better. I wish Barris's arc was a little bit different as far as how it ended, because I would love to see Barris again. But then again, it doesn't really say that she died in the episode, so don't really know for sure. She could have survived. I don't know. But I love Barris so much that I would love to see her come into live action at some point. I mean, and they could go back and do a backstory with Barris in it. She could show up somewhere else. It's possible. I mean, she could technically show up in Andor. But yeah, I mean, the Morgan Elsbeth story arc, the 3 episodes with Morgan Elsbeth were amazing. They were fantastic. Again, that story arc was more so the reason why I got my top 5. The first episode of Barris's, the first and the second actually were really good for me. It was that last episode that just kind of I was a little off with it, but I did enjoy it. Tales of the Empire, great. Again, carrying off of Tales of the Jedi. I have a feeling that they're going to keep doing this type of 6 episode Tales series. And who knows what's going to happen next? Tales of the Bounty Hunters, maybe. So we got Tales of the Jedi, Tales of the Empire, maybe Tales of the Republic or Tales of the Rebellion. I would like to see a Tales of the Rebellion. That would be cool. Tales of something like that. Something with the Rebel Alliance would be a cool. Maybe we can get some Wedge story arcs. Maybe some Rogue One story arc. Maybe I don't know. Wedge would be cool. I think that would be cool. Wedge is overdue. He needs his own little series, right? That would be cool to have a Wedge series. I don't know who else you would use. Would be another Rebel character that we could get a cool 3 episode story arc on, huh? I don't know. It'd be interesting to think about something that we can get with another tale, the next tale series. My number, so we were at 5. 5 is Outlaws. 4 was Tales of the Empire. My number 3 is The Bad Batch season 2. The Bad Batch season 2. Our little sign off, or season 3. Sorry, Bad Batch season 3. What am I doing? Season 2. The Bad Batch send off. I mean, I really I was I knew that this wasn't going to last very long. This series, season 3 had a little bit of ups and downs for me. I had a little bit of slow points with me, but overall, I love the ending. I love Ventress coming in. Wish it was a little bit more Ventress. Kind of gives us though a little bit of hope for maybe some more Ventress somewhere else, maybe. And then also some hope for seeing these characters again somewhere, right? Maybe we'll see Omega at some point down the road, an older Omega. What do you think about that? I wouldn't mind. I wouldn't mind seeing maybe the first clone force sensitive being, because it does seem like she is force sensitive in a little bit. So does she ever get trained? Who trains her? Is it Ventress? What will we get? What will we get? Will we get a spin-off of the Bad Batch? Because we could get a little bit of a spin-off there. Yeah, we could get some kind of spin-off of the Bad Batch. I don't know if that's a possibility, but we got a lot of characters still surviving there, right? We got a lot of stories I think we can tell. I think it would also be really cool is if some of these characters kind of tied in. Who knows? Maybe these characters pop up in Andor season 2. Andor season 2 kind of started at a great time because there was a lot of things around that time period with these characters that were introduced in animation that we can maybe see them pop up in live action, because there's a lot of that time period that's going to be interacting. We still have a lot of Rebels going on at that time, so we could see some Rebels characters pop up maybe in Andor season 2, crossing paths, maybe just for an instant here and there. I mean, we already got Saul Guerrero coming in, even though Saul was in Rogue One. They're pulling a lot of the Rogue One characters and telling a little bit about their backstory. But I think we should have some, as Cassian is getting more and more into the Rebel Alliance and tied and connected, as we see him in Rogue One. I think we can see some Harrison Dula, some I mean, some Ezra Bridger, because all of this stuff is going on um, concurrently, which is something that we can see these characters pop up. Kanan Jarrus, love to see Kanan live action. This might be our only chance to see Kanan Jarrus live action. And not using his lightsaber, maybe, or maybe, who knows? You know, I think it would be really cool to see some of these characters. Zeb Grill, just all these characters, Chopper, all of them. It would be a great time, even if we just see the Ghost swing into action with the voices, just a glimpse of them in the cockpit. Who knows? I think it would be a great thing to be able to see some of these characters, as well as some characters from the Bad Batch, maybe join forces with Cassian in Andor season 2. I think it would be a great job there. So number 5, Outlaws. Number 4, um, Tales of the Empire. Number 3, The Bad Batch. My number 2, probably going to upset a lot of people, but then again, I think a lot of people now that are going back watching this series are loving it, and even though it's canceled, are now wishing that we could see a season 2 of The Acolyte. I thought that this was amazing. I don't understand what happened with this and why people did not embrace this. Um, yes, it was not. It was a different time period. People. I think people that watched or read the High Republic series loved it. I think that was like just the thing with it is just it was so outside of the window of what we know of Star Wars. Um, we're talking hundreds of years. We've never done that before with Star Wars on screen. Everything's been like 30 years after or in between films, things like that. There's been nothing that's been before any live action or way after live action. None of that's happened. This is the first time that this has happened, and I think it was just such a disconnect for people. But I love the feel of it. I love the costumes, how different they were, but how familiar they were. Um, I love the ties to the connections to characters, the connections to lore, um, and just the different perspective on the Force. Because we've been seeing it. We've been seeing the different perspectives on the Force in animation. We've seen the Night Sisters. We've seen um, just so many people that have this belief in the Force, but not calling it the Force. And this was a new way that we've seen this, and which kind of takes us into that dark side. Um, Again, the Night Sisters, that dark magic that the different part of the Force that they use in different ways has had that feel um with the coven there on Brendock, and I loved it. I thought it was so great. And then of course the Stranger, amazing. I just don't know why this wasn't embraced. I loved everything about it. I loved how it ended. I was so hoping for a season 2 announcement. I'm just at a loss because we're not going to get a continuation of this story. Um, it could be one of those teases, that's the end of the series, but maybe they're going to do a different kind of series continuing these characters, but under a different name. I don't know how they'll do it, but I don't know. I really just I would, and I mean they could go back on it, right? They could go back on it. Disney, they can reinvigorate the series. I really hope that at some point people, the love of it, maybe it's Star Wars Celebration, they're going to see the love of it with the characters that are coming, and I hope we get another series. I hope we get another series telling the continuation of this story with the Stranger, with Oshi. I want to I want to see Darth Plagueis again. That just was mind blowing, just brilliant to throw him in there, just as that little Easter egg. And I just want to know why. What was the reason? What were they going to do with that character? Um, I think that's something that everybody kind of had wanted to see at some point. I don't understand what happened there and why there's no season 2, but announcement other than they're incorporating it in something else. Because there's no way all that setup could have been for nothing, and they're just gonna throw it all away. There can't be, right? No, that is my number two. So number 5, Outlaws. Number 4, Tales of the Empire. Number 3, The Bad Batch. Number 2, The Acolyte. And of course, I couldn't keep it in. And I just went off until it said everything about the Skeleton Crew. Because the Skeleton Crew is amazing, right? So that was my number 1, the Skeleton Crew, which I already talked about, right? But I do have an honorable mention. But yeah, the Skeleton Crew, fantastic. I mean, these kids are amazing, right? And so many cool, fun Easter eggs, especially the Life Day or the holiday special. That's been fun. If you haven't started watching Skeleton Crew, start watching it. Don't wait for it. Don't binge watch at the end. Look what happened with Acolyte. I think so many people waited to watch it, and I don't know if the viewings of it were down because everybody there are people that love to binge watch, and I am totally fine with that. But if that's the reason, if Disney was not seeing people watching it week by week, you can't make that a reason to cancel a series. Because I knew so many people that waited to binge watch it and watch it. It was like, why was that canceled? Why was it canceled? Ugh, it's kind of anyway. I do have an honorable mention that kind of kicked out of my top 5. I had it in there and it just got pushed out. And it was an announcement because I was so happy to hear this. But this happened last year, the announcement, and what a brilliant way of doing it. What a brilliant way. Dave Filoni always loves to tease. The story continues. Ahsoka season 2 announcement was made this year with the Mortis statues. Oh, one of my favorite parts of the Clone Wars, the Mortis story arc, which was just absolutely amazing. Again, taking us into a different side of what the Force is, which I think can kind of point us into the direction of the origins of the Force that hopefully we'll see James Mangold talk about at some point with that film. So yeah, but what a great way to set that up. The story continues. So yeah. But going back to talking about just catching up on Skeleton Crew, right? We had some fun episodes of Skeleton Crew. This is where actually, so I was really tight on time tonight because I didn't have a lot of time to really look ahead and see what was kind of like review everything. But yeah, so we've had like 3 episodes of Skeleton Crew since I have. The last time I did an episode was just when episode 4 came out, which was Can't Say I Remember No AT-AT. And but we've had 5, 6, and 7 released in the past few weeks. And yeah, so let's go back to episode 5. Episode 5, you have a lot to learn about pirates. Which that was when they went to Lanupa. I was looking for the planet's name, Lanupa, which kind of had this like Canto Bight feel, but more of like a luxury resort. It was more of a spa. It was not Canto Bight, but it was a luxury spa. So anybody that might go to Canto Bight to gamble might go to this place to have a nice relaxing spa vacation. And Jake Schreier was the director of this. Myung Jo Westner was the writer, and came out December 24th, so Christmas Eve was when that one came out. And this we go back to AT-AT because the parents are trying to work together to try to figure out how to get a message out to the kids. And so they're doing this in secret because the security droids, the supervisor droids, are just all over this. They're really trying to keep AT-AT a secret. Um, and So that's kind of how it starts off, as just that little side story of going back, which we got again a little bit this week as well. Um, and last week, I don't know if it happened last week, or I think so last week as well. They've been going back and forth a little bit. Um, the so the can't say I remember no AT-AT, and that kind of left us off with SM-33 like turning on the crew, and they had him restrained. They did reactivate him. And basically, now that his memory's intact, he does remember Ad-Adin. And he remembers that the hidden treasure that belonged to the famed pirate Tak Renid, um, that the hidden treasure belonged to him. And he also first, let them know that this is the Onyx Cinder, the name of the ship. He agrees to take them back to the base, so back to Ad-Adin, and or back to his base on Lanupa, which ends up being this now spa. It's basically been taken over. So they go in disguise. Another former alias, or a former alias of Jod, comes to play as he runs into a former pirate acquaintance by the name of Pocket. And she actually turns on him because he's probably done something and backstabbed her at some point in their time together, and turns him over to Brutus, which Brutus and the pirates end up coming in the end of the episode. Um, the crew end up making their way all the way down into the hidden caves, back where Tech Rened's treasure is, and they find the coordinates there to Ad-Aden, which is, now they know how to get back. Um, Jod actually turns on the kids at this point, thinking that, okay, I got my way there. I can go it on my own, and be this greedy person that he is. You never know really who he is, but he does have that greediness in him, and it comes to the fore. So he really just is kind of looking for that way to kind of take over and be that cutlass person that he is. And he learns that this treasure is an imperial mint that creates credits. So yeah, endless credits is basically what he's thinking. And he challenges Fern for the captaincy, and basically wants her to yield, which she ends up doing. But then Wim Wim tries to use the lightsaber that he finds in there, which, interestingly enough, the lightsaber is found in Tak Rened's hidden treasure base. So was Tak Rened a Jedi? Is he a Jedi? Um, or did he steal it or find it, as he is a pirate? So don't really know a lot about that or how he got it. But Fern yields because Wim doesn't know how to operate the lightsaber. But the kids escape when a booby trap is activated, and very Goonies like, they drop into a kind of like a hidden trapdoor, which the next week's episode we see is kind of like a slide, which kind of reminds me of the end of Goonies, which is fun. And then Jod gets the lightsaber and he activates it. So we've seen Jod with the Force abilities, and now he has a lightsaber. So, and he seems to know how to use it. So that's an interesting little side point with his character. I think a lot of people thought that this last week we were going to get a lot of backstory for Jod, but we didn't. We didn't. We still don't really know a lot about who he was or why he has force sensitivity, or maybe how he developed it, and how he knows how to use a lightsaber. I mean, anybody, Han activated a lightsaber. Doesn't take much to learn how to activate a lightsaber. Last week's episode, Zero Friends Again, directed by Bryce Dallas Howard, again written by Myung Jo Wessner. That was on New Year's Eve that one dropped, and Jod and SM-33 are captured by the pirates at the beginning of that episode. Jod's taken back to Brutus for execution. The children actually, so like I said, the children come out of that slide down to the bottom. They come into kind of like a garbage heap for the resort. And KB lets them know that she has the coordinates to Ad-Adden. And the kids kind of split up. So Fern and Neil decide to climb up to the Onyx Cinder, which is still on the platform. And Wim and KB want to follow these trash crabs, which kind of reminded me of the creatures, I can't remember their name, from Peridia, which Ezra has befriended, but they kind of reminded me of them. Jod actually ends up kind of like saving himself and SM-33 by bribing Brutus with the location of Ad-Adden. And during like kind of like a trial, which is like a pirate trial, which was pretty cool to see. I love the speech that that Jod gives during that, the hungry speech, which is great. Kind of winning over his former crew. And then KB's cybernetics start to kind of malfunction. We get to see a little bit more of how non-human she is from this episode. And Wim steps it up and really helps save her in this time of need, which was a pretty cool moment in this episode. And I love how at the end where she calls him a Jedi, so which is cool at the end. So Fern and Neil end up not getting to the Onyx Cinder at the time because they're getting ready to tow it to the junk heap, but they end up jumping onto some of the towing ships, and they end up crashing it into the garbage area. But they also save their friends, KB and Wim, from the trash crab king, I guess you want to call him. And they get to the Onyx Cinder, but it's like kind of getting ready to be destroyed by this huge, like, I guess, like recycling garbage machine. And it gets trapped, and they push the button that SM-33 says not to, which basically purges the hull of the ship, which then reveals this amazing, cool shuttle underneath of it. And it's more of a sleeker ship, very shiny, kind of like almost like it shed its skin, kind of like a snake almost does, which was really neat. And then they depart Lanupa for Ad-Adden because they do have the coordinates. And then last week's episode, we're going to be in so much trouble. Well, this week's episode, we're going to be in so much trouble. Directed by Lee Isaac Chung, written by Christopher Ford and John Watts, which we actually have not seen them write an episode since well, they wrote majority of the first, except for the last two. They've written almost every single one of them. So it starts off again with the parents running through the forest. They're creating this little transmitter that's going to go up through the atmosphere and get through to transmit a message to the kids, to let them know that they are not forgetting them and that they can make it home. And the security droid's pursuing them, stunning them in the process, which kind of almost has this like last play of an NFL game where everybody kind of pitches the ball to somebody else as they go down. I don't know, that's the feel I had with it. But it was a lot of fun to see that. And the pirates end up arriving at Ad-Adden. They almost immediately start to doubt Jod when they see the nebulous gases, and they're like, nobody can make it through. They send a pirate down, it doesn't make it. They're about to kill Jod. Then the ship arrives, the LXXVIII arrives, and Jod says that must be the key to get through. So he bides himself some time. The LXXVIII is captured. The pirate Glurb was the one that was sent into the barrier and destroyed by the defenses. So we know the defenses are very strong. Jod ends up killing Brutus because when the ship lands and opens up, KB uses her voice just like thing to make it sound like somebody dangerous is on board. Brutus goes to walk up, and that little claw thing captures him. Jod just immediately just disposes of him. I was hoping for a little bit more of a conflict there, but basically he just shoots him. And then he basically tells them that there's 4 children on the bridge and they should just go capture them. And yeah, so that's, he turns on them completely. So Jod takes his captaincy back of the LXXVIII. He tells the pirates to conceal themselves until he obtains the location of the planet's vaults. So he goes back down. The children's manage to use the pirate code to get SM-33 to turn on Jod, so they can escape. But then Jod ends up getting on the LXXVIII right before they leave and stows away there. Ends up decapitating SM-33. This is like the 3rd time that SM-33 has gone down. I feel so bad for him. But first time that we see Jod using the lightsaber, showing that he is capable. Again, I don't think it takes much. Han used the lightsaber. Still doesn't, I don't know. He has Force potential, though, so I don't know. Was he a Jedi? Don't know yet. I would love to know his backstory, though. The security, we get a flashback to AT-AT and the security droids questioning the parents on AT-AT. The supervisor is heard over an announcement, which the actor, I can't remember his name, has not done anything for Star Wars ever before. But is this really the supervisor, or is it just a voiceover in some way? Still yet to be determined. But the supervisor's announcement announces the arrival of a Republic emissary, I guess because they feel that this is an AT-AT ship, which is kind of realized that there is particular ships that go in and out of AT-AT that have a makeup to be able to get through the barrier. So the ship that Tak rented must have been an AT-AT ship. It was not a pirate ship. Jod poses as a Republic emissary to gain access to the vaults before he can meet with the supervisor. The children briefly get reunited with their parents, who are brought to them into the vault, and then Jod approaches with his lightsaber and draws the lightsaber. So this was actually episode 7. Next week is the last episode of Skeleton Crew. So it is all going to be revealed who this supervisor is, I guess. What happens to Jod? Who is he really? Are we going to find out who is he really? I don't know. Is AT-AT going to be open to the world? Don't know. I think it's going to be interesting. How does this tie into the Mandoverse? That is the other question. Just so many things that are unanswered, and we're just going to have to find out. I am already over an hour, by the way, so I'm going to wrap it up with that. I was going to talk a little bit more, but that was a lot of stuff. That was a lot of stuff to talk about tonight. So I don't want to keep it over an hour. I want everybody to be able to head on to bed. I wanted to talk about some of the costumes from the past 3 episodes, but I mean, this was one of my favorites. I mean, that character is awesome. I want to see more about her. I want to learn more about her. I want to see her again. Amazing costume. Looks amazing. Anyway, that is all the time I have tonight. I hope everybody is enjoying their week. Again, I will hopefully see you next week on another episode of Space Oats Live. So please, if you like this episode, please hit that like button. Please subscribe to this channel. Hit those notifications so you know when I go live. Please comment on anything. Let me know what you want to see, what you want to hear about as far as Space Oats Live. Till next time, remember to do something Star Wars, watch some Star Wars, listen to some Star Wars, read some Star Wars, play some Star Wars, do something Star Wars. Most importantly, remember whatever you're doing, may the stars light your way. Have a great evening, everyone, and I'll see you next time.